think the first year that I put the bill in, though, for a sense of history, was actually the year before Massachusetts Supreme Court ruled the way that they did. And so, in a lot of ways, that bill that first year was not, didn't have the stature that it does now, or even that it did the second year that it was introduced. Made a huge difference. Once that Supreme Court decision happened, it really paved the way, I think, for where we are now. In my mind, I mean, obviously others can, we can certainly discuss that, but I think it definitely made a huge difference for me in the legislation here in Rhode Island. That first year, I struggled to get co-sponsors. I probably got 4 or 5, just quickly so people know what co-sponsors are. There's a lead sponsor, which is what I am on the bill, and then you ask other folks to support the bill. Again, I know other folks advocate for Congress to do that. In many cases, we also do that here in Rhode Island, but that all happens right before the bill goes in. So that first year, I believe I got 4 or 5 co-sponsors that year. We're now up to, I think we're up to 31 now, co-sponsors on the bill, to give you a sense of momentum over time and change over time with the legislation. And again, the changes throughout the country, but also I think every year helps to make change like what Frank is describing. I mean, I think once people get to know somebody, they realize that they're just like they are, or very much like they are, and that's a lot of what I've seen. I know folks also have talked about demographic changes in age over time that will be difference, but I'm only talking 7 years, so it's not going to make, I think, the kind of change that we've seen happen so quickly. So it's been a great thing. I know somebody had said why Rhode Island is, I can't remember the term that the first person that introducing things. We're talking about the fact that Rhode Island hasn't taken it up, but in reality, I think we have taken it up. We just haven't adopted it yet along the way. It's also been a big help having Representative Ferri again, the first openly gay, married openly gay man to be elected in Rhode Island and maybe across the country, right?
Could be.
But that really helps. Again, it's just like what I just said. When you have somebody get to know somebody and they realize, you know what, I can't, vote against that bill. I can't speak against that bill. That means it's like I'm speaking against Frank. And it's one of those other important steps, I think, in helping people understand things. We're getting a little off track.
Well, so the status is,
Yeah.
it doesn't come out of committee to go to the House floor, as far as the House goes, or the Senate. And I do want to recognize quickly that we do have some legislators in the audience. You see Betsy Denny. Betsy. David Siegel, Rep. David Siegel. Oh, I'm sorry, did I take that away from you? Okay. Senator Josh Miller. And I know earlier there was Senator Pacheco, Rep. Pacheco, Rep. Petrarca, Rep. O'Neill, Rep. Deb Ruggiero is here with Deb. I don't think there's any other reps or senators, but I know we have a councilman. Lieutenant Governor Roberts is here, right? She's not here right now. And I know Seth Uridan, Councilman Seth Uridan Roberts is here. So the bill, we haven't been able to get it out of the committee. I think there was a vote, I think one time in committee when it was judiciary, 1 year when David Cicilline was in rep, I believe there was a vote. He's the only legislator, elected official to vote for same-sex marriage in Rhode Island. It was that one time, right? It was a 14-1 vote. That's my co-conspirator over there. Jen Steinfeld used to be. So we haven't been able to get it up. Of course, we know that the Speaker, the Senate President, and the Governor both have said that they don't favor, they're not in favor of same-sex marriage. We know that's been a stumbling block to coming out of committee. And like Art said, we have we're up to 31, I think it was 31 or 32 signatures on the bill this past year. And I do believe that my presence there had helped people realize what same-sex marriage was all about. As far as I'm concerned, I said we needed something to rock the State House, and I think my election did that. But, if you want to add it?
Yeah, I mean, procedurally, the bill has continued to be stuck in the Judiciary Committee. And I think one of the things that I know folks have been talking about is really pushing hard to make sure we're getting even more commitments from the General Assembly on the House side and the Senate side, I think, so we really can show that this is something that an overwhelming majority of legislators are seeing. That way we can, I think we can move it forward. But again, to sort of current status, as Representative Ferri said, is the bill has had hearings every year along the way, and this is there's no exception this year, but it hasn't had a vote in committee, so it hasn't been on the floor.
And it doesn't mean that we don't have the votes in committee. It just means that it hasn't come up for a vote in committee.
Yeah, but and again, I think that part of what we want to talk about tonight is moving this forward, moving the ball forward on that as soon as possible. So I think it'd be great if we could sit the rest of the time, maybe.
Yeah, that might be 15 minutes.
I've got it.
Thank you, Professor Cato, and representative this morning. Before we bring the rest of the panel up, I'd just like to take a minute to introduce the moderator for tonight's discussion, Jen Steinfeld, who's up front here. For the past 15 years, Ms. Steinfeld has been an activist in LGBT issues throughout Rhode Island. She's worked with nearly every LGBT organization in the state. She was one of the founding members and founding executive directors of Marriage Equality in Rhode Island. She also served on the Advisory Council for Equity Action and has also served on the Board of Directors for Ocean State Action. She currently is a grant writer for the Providence School System and resides in Providence. So without further ado, I'll turn the mic over to Jen.
Of the panel come up and join me, please. I just want to give you guys a little bit of an overview of what the rest of the evening is going to look like. So we have about half an hour that we're going to have the panelists answer some questions asked by me, which were generated by the Roger Williams Democrats and Rhode Island Young Democrats. And then we're going to open it up for about 25 minutes of Q&A. So think about your questions as well. And we're hoping to wrap it up promptly at 8:30. So I'm going to ask all of our panelists to stay to 2 minutes on each answer. And I will be a tough guy if I have to be. Don't make me be, but I will be. So just we're going to go through, and I'm going to have each of you introduce yourselves and talk a little bit about what makes you see this as a social justice issue, and then we'll move through the rest of the questions.
Hi, sure. My name is Bill Lynch. I guess I'm here because I'm the chairman of the Democratic Party. I need to be careful and tell you that what I'll say tonight is not necessarily the consensus opinion from everyone within the Democratic Party, as some of you have already figured out. There are those within our party who don't necessarily agree with me on this particular issue. I think I was invited here tonight because I've sort of become the punching bag of Governor Kachiri on this particular issue, and it's an issue in which I'm very happy to stand toe-to-toe with the governor, and I'll continue to do that. I'm happy to be here to have been invited. I will also say it's a special pleasure for me. This is the first panel I've sat on in my adult life with Stephen Brown, and since he sued my father back in the 1970s. Somewhere, my father's smiling down at me saying, if you live long enough in Rhode Island, even you and Stephen Brown agree on something.